Thank you very much, Mr. President. Yesterday was not only Martin Luther King's birthday, which became a federal holiday through the extraordinary efforts of my longtime friend, Congressman Jack F. Kemp of Buffalo, Republican, a man with a deep commitment to equality and civil rights. But it was also the 50th anniversary of Richard Nixon's becoming president in 1969. Richard Nixon ended the war in Vietnam. He reached a strategic arms limitation agreement with the Soviets. He opened the door to China. He desegregated the American public schools. He desegregated the trade unions. He unilaterally saved Israel in the Yom Kippur War of 1973. He launched the war on cancer. He gave us federal revenue sharing, and he appointed more African Americans to federal office than Lyndon Baines Johnson and John F. Kennedy combined. He also made several egregious mistakes, including the war on drugs, which has been an abysmal, expensive failure. He closed the gold window, from which I think we are still suffering. And of course, he enacted wage and price controls. He still goes down in my book as one of our greatest presidents. And there are many analogies between President Richard Nixon, who took office 50 years ago yesterday, and the current president. The largest, of course, is that Nixon was, above all, a peacemaker, and he left a more peaceful world when he left office in 1974. He was also taken down by a deep state who was threatened by his efforts to make peace, just as President Donald Trump's intention to withdraw us from Syria and Afghanistan and Iraq has the war hawks and the neocons whose predecessors took down Nixon shook up in trying to remove our president today. So a little history lesson there. We are going to take your calls, an excellent suggestion from my colleague Owen Schroyer. That number, 888-201-2244. Again, 888-201-2244. Jump on the hotline right now, and maybe we can get to your call. There's a lot of confusion about what's going on in Washington. Sources tell me the president has no intention of not delivering his State of the Union address, but he is highly likely to give the address from a location outside of Washington, D.C., a historic first for this president, but there have been many historic firsts. Donald Trump has created more manufacturing jobs in 2 years than any president in history, over 500,000 new manufacturing jobs out of 4.8 million new jobs created since he became president. The GDP has averaged about 4%. The best that Barack Obama could do was less. And this economic prosperity so threatens the deep state and those who would remove them that the Federal Reserve has begun a series of quote unquote corrections, reminding me of the way they sabotaged the economy in 1973 and 4 to create a backdrop for Richard Nixon's removal. That is what they seek to do. Clearly, they are willing to hurt the country, hurt working people, hurt people who are just getting back to work, and kill this new American prosperity. It is a great American tragedy. But it shows, as Bill Maher, who's actually a friend of mine, said some months ago, if it takes crashing the economy, if it takes putting people out of work to remove Donald Trump, well, they're prepared to do that. Owen?
Well, and Roger, we're about to take some phone calls here. The crew is getting the calls lined up. But I want to go back to something we didn't have a time to talk about in the last segment or last week. And that was at the end of the week, last Friday, BuzzFeed publishes their fake news story that says Donald Trump ordered Michael Cohen to lie to the FBI for him. The special counsel, Bob Mueller, comes out, makes a statement, and specifically says that BuzzFeed story is a lie, is fake news. But that didn't stop it I mean, all day Saturday, I have people coming up to me saying, Trump ordered Cohen to lie. Subornation or whatever the legal term is. I'm forgetting it. So it's like they publish fake news. It's known fake news. Their unelected president, Bob Mueller, comes out and says it's fake news. But they never see that, Roger. They see the fake news. They think it's real news, and then they glob onto that, never seeing that it was fake news. So it's amazing how that just kind of came and went in less than 24 hours because they ran this media hoax against the Covington Catholic boys. So, Roger, just real quick. I mean, BuzzFeed comes out, says Cohen said Trump told him to lie. The counsel that investigated Cohen said, nope, that's a lie. BuzzFeed is fake news. Nobody picks it up.
Well, first of all, BuzzFeed can't be taken seriously as an actual news organization. They also were the first media outlet to report the results of the phony dossier, presenting it to the American people as if it was factual. It is the #1 place to go on the internet for cat videos and clickbait, but it's not really a serious journalistic enterprise. It was almost laughable to see a senior journalist on CNN trying to defend them as legitimate. That's a joke. The reporter in question has a long history of fabrications and errors, so it's really not surprising. But I think it was Benjamin Franklin who said, a lie is halfway around the world before the truth can even get its pants on. And that is the truth. So the damage was done. And then you saw knee-jerk leftists like Joaquin Castro, who's today's New York Times calls Julian Castro, today's New York Post calls Julian Castro, saying, well, that's it. The president needs to be impeached. This is impeachable. Impeachment is in the air. Of course, he hasn't retracted any of that. This is the same guy who said that I lied to the House Intelligence Committee. Completely false. My testimony is accurate and truthful. But Adam Schiff did lie that day, and Eric Swalwell did lie that day. That's documented. So it is part and parcel of the new system, where one bird jumps off the wire, then they all jump off the wire. Yesterday's New York Times had two particularly tough stories on Donald Trump, but the story that reported that his discussions about building a real estate development in Russia, which he never actually built, lasted longer than publicly thought. So what? Exactly what does that mean? But despite the fact the New York Times did a great job breaking the Uranium One story, their follow-up to that story is non-existent, doesn't exist. So it's the double standard we see every day, just like the one we talked about in the first segment. Lindsey Graham wants to investigate the illegal activities of the Clintons and the Obamas. Oh, no, that's off limits. That's ridiculous. That's ancient history. But we got to find out whether Donald Trump had borscht for breakfast. So it is really egregious, and it's typical of the fake news. Now, as you know, Owen, having a vibrant, robust internet is the way to check the fake news. As long as you can go on InfoWars or Breitbart or the Daily Caller or Gateway Pundit or Big League Politics and so many other great sites and get the truth, whether it's about the Covington High School students or whether it's about the allegations regarding Michael Cohen, then our democracy is safe. It is only when they censor the alternative voices that America is in big trouble.
And we don't even take care of ourselves. I've barely even plugged today. I've plugged once. We've been on air for over an hour and a half. That's not paying the bills, folks. So please go to InfoWarsStore.com. I mean, you see the reporters. We have reporters live doing streams all across the country now, folks. So it's all possible with your support at InfoWarsStore.com. I've got the InfoWars polo on right now, the InfoWars Hexagon logo polo. Look at this. I've been on Roger Stone's best dressed list 3 years running. This polo is endorsed by Roger Stone, who writes the best dressed list. Go to InfoWarsStore.com. Get yourself an InfoWars Hexagon logo polo.
Let's go to Wild Man in Illinois. Thanks for holding, and About to say Happy New Year. Go ahead.
Alex, yeah, going into 2019, what Trump's got to do to save America, he's got to declassify FISA, expose the corruption, arrest the traitors, and arrest the pedophiles. That's how he saves America. My opinion, an over-the-road trucker, hardworking, honest man, that's what I believe.
I agree. Victory or death. He's now, looks like he's cleaning house. He's getting rid of all the double agents. And the word is Trump is going to go into battle now. We're talking he's going to strike back against the censorship. He's going to strike back against the pedophile rings. It's already begun. He's going to strike back against the deep state. He's going to strike back against all the criminal activity of Comey and Mueller being Russian operatives. So just get ready.
Another note, I've spent over $3,000 in your store this year. I'm a loyal supporter, and thanks for great products.
Brother, let me tell you something. I want to thank you. If folks like you didn't stand with us against the incredible Hillary Clinton and Soros attacks, which they admit they're running, we would not be here now. They're taking Michael Savage off the air. They're taking everybody. They took Franklin Graham off Facebook. They need to get us all off the air before they make their move on Trump. That's why this is a war. And you supporting us is incredible. Which products do you like the best?
Man, I use the bodies. I got so many of the T-shirts that ain't even funny. I got your stickers posted on my hard hat, on my GPS, my truck. I tell truckers about you over the CB Airways all across the country. I spread the word about you. I wear your clothes, your hats, your shirts, you name it. Multitude of products.
How much love do you get versus hate do you get?
You know, it's people skeptical, but like it's probably about 50-50 or 60-40 your way. It's just so many people got their head in the sand out here.